What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the beginning of another awesome series. Since this is the first episode in this series, I'll explain what it's going to be about. I held a poll on one of my previous videos on what you all would like to see as the next series. The poll choices were Mass Monster Hunting Series Part 2 or Easy OSRS Bosses. The latter was the winning choice. So throughout this series, I'm going to be making guides for what I consider to be the easier bosses in old school RuneScape. Along with the guide, I'll kill 100 of each boss, save the drops, and showcase the loot at the end of each video. My channel is mainly based on money making for newer players, and things that newer players can find enjoyment in as they're learning the game. Even if you've been playing the game for a year, there may be some things that are still new to you. So this series is going to dive into the easier bosses of RuneScape and give an idea on what would be the best way to go about killing them. In this first episode, we're going to be visiting one of the original bosses of RuneScape, the Kalphite Queen. The Kalphite Queen is a level 333 boss monster that resides in a hive in the Caridian Desert. I consider this boss to be easy in skill level, but somewhat hard because of the damage she puts out. Don't let her damage deter you, she really is quite easy to kill. For killing the Kalphite Queen, I do have some recommendations. Keep in mind, these are only recommendations and can most certainly be done without them. I recommend having at least level 85 in all melee stats, level 80 ranged, and level 70 prayer for piety. Another recommendation I have is level 94 magic and the completion of lunar diplomacy for the vengeance spell. This, however, is a minor recommendation and isn't really needed. The only thing I use it for is just to increase my DPS just by a little bit. Before we jump into the gear setup, let's check out a little bit of background information on the Kalphite Queen. As I said before, the Kalphite Queen is level 333. The Kalphite Queen has two forms, the first one being a green six-legged beetle, and the second one being something that resembles a wasp or a hornet. During the first form, the Kalphite Queen will simultaneously be using the Protect from Missiles and Protect from Magic prayer, so melee must be used. Once the first form has been defeated, she will molt into the second form, which uses the Protect from Melee prayer. So, unless you're using a set of Verax, both melee and ranged must be used against her. Each form has 255 hit points, giving her a total hit point level of 510. Her maximum hit is 31, which can be hit with melee, ranged, and magic, and she will award 535.5 Slayer experience per kill. The Queen's primary weakness is Crush, so you'll most certainly want to have something with a good Crush bonus. Her attack, strength, and defense stats are each 300, and she boasts a magic level of 150. As for the drop table, it is pretty decent. Most of her drops will always pay out more than you spent to complete the kill. The Kalphite Queen will award 2 drops per kill, one from her primary drop table and one from a consumable drop table. The consumables include monkfish, sharks, dark crabs, and an array of potions. Notable rare drops from the Queen include the Dragon Chain Body, Dragon Two-Handed Sword, the Kalphite Princess Pet, and Elite Clue Scrolls. The Queen has a very large primary drop table, which can include some very decent drops, which include 25 noted grimy Renar Weeds, 25 grimy Snapdragons, 60 noted Wines of Zamorak, and 2 Magic Seeds. If you'd like to see a complete list of her drops, check out the RS Wiki link in the description below. So now that we've got the background information out of the way, let's check out the gear setup. Before I start explaining this setup, I understand that not everyone will be able to afford and use the gear that I have. The gear that I'm using is pretty high tier gear, so feel free to substitute anything for the best gear you can use. What you're seeing now is the setup for the Queen's first form. I'm using an imbued Slayer helmet, which can be subbed out for a Knit Snot or Serpentine helm if you're not on a task, full bandos including the boots, fire cape, amulet of torture, barrows gloves, and a ring of suffering. I've also got an unholy blessing to boost the longevity of my prayer. During this first form, you'll want to be protecting against magic, so you'll want your range defense to be as high as possible. I'm using the Bandos Godsword for its special attack because it lowers the defense of whatever you're fighting by the damage points hit. After using the special attack, I'll switch over to my Zamorakian Hasta and Dragonfire Shield. My range defense bonus with this setup is 389, giving me a decent advantage. Once the first form is complete, I'll be throwing on my range setup. For the range setup, I'll be using a blowpipe with adamant darts, a necklace of anguish, armadillo chestplate, and armadillo chain skirt. The blowpipe offers quick DPS, but if you don't have one or can't afford it, you'll want to be using a rune crossbow with diamond enchanted bolts. The rune crossbow is considerably slower, so if you can afford a blowpipe, I highly recommend you use it. In my inventory, you'll see a super combat potion, range potion, 2 ropes for the tunnel entrances, 2 anglerfish, 11 sharks, a stamina potion, super anti-poison plus, rune pouch with vengeance runes, Draman staff, and house teleports. The vengeance isn't really necessary like I said before, but it does help a little bit with DPS. Before we get into killing the queen, I should note that if you have 86 agility and 85 construction, it will make for a much faster trip. Also, with the completion of the Elite Desert Diaries, once you place ropes in the hive, they will stay there permanently. But now, let's get into seeing how the Kalphite Queen is killed. So we'll run through what I think the best method to actually get to the Kalphite Queen's hive is. It's going to require you to have at least 85 construction. You're going to want to teleport to your house and use the fairy ring in your house and teleport to the location BIQ, which will take you into the desert right near the Kalphite Queen's hive. So you're going to run north, and then you're going to turn west, and after just a short run, you'll be at the entrance. You're going to take your first rope, use it on the tunnel entrance, and climb down. Now here, you equip your Bandos God Sword, put it on Smash because the Kalphite Queen is weak to Crush, turn your special attack on, and start running through. Now, if you have 86 agility, you'll be able to use this little crevice here, but I don't have 86, so I have to run all the way around. So as we continue running, take a drink of your stamina potion, get your first vengeance ready, and just keep on running until you get to the end of the tunnel. So once we're at about this point, we're going to want to pot up. You get our potions going, and you can check the crack rate here to see if there's anybody currently in there. No adventurers are inside, so you know you're good to go. So you want to throw on Protect from Melee here, so your first vengeance doesn't get hit by one of these Kalphite Guardians. Put your rope in the second tunnel entrance, run down. Your quick prayer should be set to Magic and Piety, so as soon as you run in, you're already on Crush, you have your special attack equipped, and you run up, and you get your special attack off. So 45 defense lower, hit your second vengeance, and continue on with the kill. Now through this part, you have your Bandos on, so you have pretty good range defense, but she's still going to hit a ton. So you want to make sure you always have at least 40 HP so you don't get comboed out. So if you hit below 40 HP, make sure you eat. Keep an eye on your vengeance the whole time, so you can get your vengeance up as soon as it's available. After you've taken the first form down, you can go ahead and switch to your blowpipe and range gear. You want to turn on your Protect from Range, Steel Skin, and Eagle Eye. You're going to want to use Protect from Range because now we have range gear on, which has a higher magic defense bonus. So after we finish the kill, grab our drop, and house tab out of there. So now that we've seen the Kalphite Queen killed, I'll show you a quick alternate method of getting there if you don't have 85 construction and don't have a fairy ring in your house. The first thing you're going to want to do is come to Shantae Pass and make sure you have 2 Shantae Passes in your inventory. What you'll do is you'll go through the Shantae Pass, drop one of your food items, and walk back through. Go to the bank and pick up one of the food items that you dropped. So in this case, I'll be grabbing a shark. With my other Shantae Pass, I'll go back through the gate. That inventory slot will now be open, and I'll have another shark. So now my inventory is full of food, I'm not missing any inventory spots, and I'll continue on straight west all the way until I get to the tunnel entrance. Now, as promised, let's get into the loot from 100 Kalphite Queen kills. As for the drops, they really weren't that bad for how easy the Kalphite Queen is to kill. On average, I use 5 to 10 sharks per kill, 1 dose of each, super combat and ranging potion, and usually 3 casts of the vengeance spell. I also used 2 house teleport tabs and probably 10 to 15 adamant darts per kill. With current market prices, it cost me somewhere between 12 and 20,000 GP per kill. This may seem like a lot, but the loot most certainly outweighed what I paid to be here for 100 kills. In my inventory, in the price checker, you can see most of what I accumulated as drops. The only things I left out were a lava battle staff, 2 red dragonhide bodies, 10 cactus spines, and 4 papaya tree seeds. All of this added up to about 150k, so we'll just add that on to the end of the price check. With all of this loot, plus what I couldn't fit into the inventory, I came up with about 5.3 mil. Using the method I was using, I was averaging about 15 kills per hour, and 100 Kalphite queens took me about 6.5 hours. I estimate the supplies cost me around 1.2 mil, which brings my total profit to right around 4.1 mil. So with the time of 6.5 hours, I ended up making about 630,000 GP per hour. I'm very pleased with that number, as I believe it's a pretty decent income for one of the easier old school bosses. And with that, we're at the end of the first episode of the Easy OSRS boss series. I had a good time making this video and showcasing the loot of the Kalphite Queen. If you've enjoyed this video or found it helpful, give it a thumbs up to get it circulating around so others might find some use from it. I'll be back as soon as I possibly can with the next Easy OSRS boss video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below and I'll do my best to respond to everyone that I can. Also, don't forget to tap that subscribe button on your way out. I really appreciate the support. Until next time everyone, as usual, take it easy.
I'm like, hey, what's up?